What is going on, good people? Welcome into the Delmarva Sports Insider, the only live and local show dedicated to giving you all local sports all the time. I'm Sports Director Trayvon Miles.
And I'm Brandon Bossert. Trey, a lot of rain tonight. I don't know about you, but no rain at my game tonight. I got lucky.
Yeah, Brandon, a very interesting week. We had a bunch of games that did not get played because of weather, and we'll get to those in a minute. But we did have a few teams that did get out there.
Yeah, one of them was Woodbridge versus Lake Forest, and the weather definitely played a role in this game.
Yeah, and that is where we'll begin. Two teams going in different directions are how we could describe Woodbridge and Lake Forest. At 7-0, the Blue Raiders have been turning up the heat in the last few weeks. Meanwhile, after starting the season 3-1, Lake came in with 2 straight losses. Now, give the Spartans credit in this game. They came to play. How about this? Jonathan Tyndall, their quarterback, dropping back, going to hit Jalen Morris, who, by the way, is a beast.
He is a player.
In the corner of the end zone. Lake got to a 7-0 lead. Few drives later, let's pull out the trick bag, why don't we? Spartans going to give it to Morris. Flea flicker out to Johnson Oakley. How about this? Lake leading 14-0
You got to pull it out when you're facing
Woodbridge.
unbeatens.
Now, Woodbridge would then wake up. Kenny Newton taking the Wildcat snap into the end zone to just make it a 1-score game.
All right, later, Noah Matthews, the big tight end on the receiving end of this Seth Smart touchdown pass. With the 2, Woodbridge takes a 16-14 lead, and then seconds before the half, Smart again going to drop a dime, this time to Colin Hastings. Bridge takes a 22-14 lead, and in the second half, they'd hold the Lake offense down, including a red zone stop at the end of the game right here.
Well,
huge.
Woodbridge, that was very big.
They moved to 8-0 with a 22-14 win. This was a big come-from-behind win.
Big
Obviously,
stop right here, yeah.
The weather, it played a big role in this game, but you got to give credit to the Blue Raiders for this comeback. Down 14-0 against a decent team with a talented running back and a quarterback who was on his game to start this one. They kept their cool and went out and executed. The defense then did their job at the very end of this game. I don't know how far Woodbridge can go in the tournament this year, but they do have a few things in their favor, and that's championship coaching, Kenny Newton, and that stout defense, of course.
Yeah, first of all, kudos for Lake for coming out of the gate and jumping on Woodbridge. They had to pull out all the stops, like you said, and they tried to do that tonight. And how about this? Kudos for Woodbridge for having the patience and resolve to actually settle in and come back and hold off a team that desperately needed a victory. Woodbridge, they seem to have found something on the offensive side of the ball. Now their third straight week over 20 points. I know 20 points does not sound like a lot, but it is when you have the defense that they have. They scored a combined 12 points between weeks 5 and 6, now over 20 for the third straight week. So give Marvin Dooley credit and his coaching staff and ultimately his team.
Yeah, and that's very promising to see because obviously 2 straight weeks in a row we saw 6-0 games for Woodbridge. Yes. So it's a good thing to see the offense finally coming around.
Yeah.
All right, a big matchup in Class 3A tonight in Georgetown. 4-3 Sussex Central against 4-3 St. George's. Let's see that video. Coach Wells going to really lean on his quarterback in this one. This game was tight throughout. The Knights strike first, a 25-yard field goal, so the Knights up 3-0 in the second quarter.
25-yard
Central's defense I'd like to see you make a 25-yard field goal, Trey.
I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't call it. I'd go for it.
Nice stop there against the quarterback. Let's move forward now. The Hawks down near the end zone. This one's going for the end zone here. It's batted away, incomplete. But wait a second, some laundry on the field. They're going to call pass interference. St. George's would settle for a field goal of their own with seconds before the half. 3-3 going to halftime. Central did all they could tonight. P.J. Henry getting the interception in the end zone here at the end of the third quarter with the game still tied at 3. But St. George's takes this one in the end, 9-3. A great effort by the Knights tonight, but they fall to 4-4 on the season.
Stop kicking 25-yard field goals. All right, last night,
keep kicking them.
Trying to end a 17-year losing skid to rival Laurel. And, hey, it looked like the home team early on was going to do it. Kareem Bolden finding Avion Matthews. He gets the ball into the red zone. Hey, if it ain't broke, why not? Give it back to big number 1 again and watch him work. First touchdown in the rivalry for Seaford since 2017. Jay's up 7-0 now. Kylie's Wilson, absolute stud. He put the Bulldogs on his back, stays on his feet, battling for every yard down to the 1, and he would finish it off right here. As a matter of fact, he was just getting warmed up. met in the backfield right here, breaking through 2 tackles, fights through another.
Incredible.
How about that one? How about some more from Wilson? He had 4 touchdowns on the evening last night. He was carving up Seaforth's defense all evening long. Now, Laurel was up 3 scores at halftime, and the other guy, Javier White, he's going to add 2 scores late in this game. Laurel's offense not messing around. 48 points, all 7 touchdowns on the ground. Seaforth's offense, meanwhile, having a hard time getting anything going. How about a shoestring tackle right there by Jaden Snyder? Laurel wins 48-6. They win the oldest rivalry in Delaware for the 18th year in a row.
You know, it's fun. It's really exciting for the kids. You know, they've worked really hard in the last 3 years that we've been here as a staff together. It's exciting for them to get the recognition that we feel they deserve every day. So it's a lot of fun for them, but it is still every single week at a time. You can't look too far ahead. Can't get caught up in all that. You know, enjoy it, have fun with it, but business is still business every week.
We just playing as a team. We show heart. We really going to really show these other people what we about. That's it.
All right, now let's go 20 minutes up Route 13 to Woodside, Delaware. The Polytech Panthers were hosting Early College yesterday. 3 plays in, it's Brett Shelton Hoskins from the 1. Poly up 8-0. Very next possession, Shelton Hoskins again weaving through the defense for a 20-yard score. And the Panthers lead 14-0 after 1 quarter. The touchdown train continues in the second. Quarterback following his blockers and gets in for the score. And just before half, Bruno Nyandemo gives a mean stiff arm to the defender before getting into pay dirt there. Polytech rolls to their best offensive performance since 2014, and they win 52-6.
All right, there were other games going on tonight. Get this, Delmar and Caravel were actually set to play. The game was going to go on until the referees went out onto the turf, and the field did not receive the rain well there at all. There were reports that this game was rescheduled until Sunday at 5. There are also reports that the game will be postponed until a later date that is not Sunday, so we will await word on that. And how about in Dover? Jaquan Kilby scores 4 touchdowns and goes over 1,000 yards on the season as the Dover Senators beat William Penn. How about this? Dover is 6-3 on the year. That's pretty
let's
impressive.
give Kilby a little bit of credit. He's one of the fastest running backs in the entire state.
Yeah.
Smyrna, they beat Salesianum, I think maybe the 3rd best team in Class 3A. They go up to Salesianum and win 28-7. Good win there. And then Cape Henlopen, they just can't buy a win this season. They lose 55-21 against Appoquinimink. All right, so DIAA has declared this week Officials Appreciation Week. Now, it can be a thankless job, but these games could not be played without the men and women who put on the uniforms.
Yeah, numbers of referees in Delaware has been trending down in the past few years, and the DIAA is making it a priority to recruit more officials. Here's this week's Insider Interview.
You know, once the pandemic hit, the numbers definitely took a dive. We're definitely concerned. We're trying to definitely do more recruiting and trying to get those efforts up. And we're conveying to our public to be very nice to our officials. We could lose officials after this season just because of the behavior that has been displayed this year. So we are really hoping that, you know, fan behavior, participant behavior definitely improves. We need our officials. We really do need our officials. So we're going to work on a recruiting plan with our officials associations that we have in our state, and hopefully we can increase those numbers. We continue to work with our member schools and being able to schedule, but we're trying to work, you know, we're constantly pushing out our Become Officials campaign through the NFHS. Those numbers are definitely improving. An article came out earlier this month in Delaware that Brad Myers did actually, and he definitely garnered some interest in becoming an official with the interest in the inquiries that we have received. So we're going to continue to do our best efforts, and we appreciate everyone that has reached out to become an official, and we hope that they matriculate over and actually become an official in this next coming year.
You say that DIAA has tracked this behavior that we've been seeing, and you say that there's been an uptick. What types of behaviors are we talking about?
Far as fans, you know, threatening officials, cursing at officials, it's just inappropriate, unsportsmanlike behavior, something that, DI is not condoning and does not support. We're here for education-based athletics, and we want to be able to provide that service to our athletes. And the only way we can do that is if we have officials to be able to officiate the game in a safe and fair manner, and to ensure that the rules are followed. So we really convey to everyone, fans, our participants, coaches and players, to make sure they're on their best behavior. We understand that they're playing sports, and we want everyone to be, competitive, but we have to be smart in being competitive. We have to be, competitive and aggressive within the game, but not disrespectful.
Very interesting piece there, Brandon. I think if people knew how dire these circumstances were to these games, they would act a little bit differently when it comes to the referees. Now, part 2 of that interview will be here next week on DSI.
And if you want to see this, and if you see this and you want to become a official with DIAA, you can log on to the NFHS website or give them a call at 302-857-3365. Give back to the community, and it's a very rewarding career.
Absolutely. All right, let's move to Maryland now. Plenty of teams rained out in the Bayside Conference. We'll get to that in a second, but there were 2 teams who chose to brave the conditions this evening. Also helps that they have the only turf field in the Bayside South. Snow Hill hosting county rival Stephen Decatur early in the second quarter. Zamir Handy, second touchdown of the game. Decatur with an early 14-0 lead. Now, later in that quarter, they go back to the air. Ashton Snellsire tossing one up to Luke Marigo. Luke going to come down with it between 2 defenders. You might see that a little later. Seahawks ahead 3 scores. They would add to it before the quarter was over. Snellsire working on his short game this time. He's going to hit Crescent Muir in the flat. He takes it all the way past the defense for a score. Decatur ahead 28-0 after the first quarter. Later, Snellsire again just, flexing the muscle, hitting Marigot for another touchdown, and then the running game worked as well. Everything worked for Decatur this evening. R.J. Brittingham going to score right there. Decatur rolls their county rival. They win 58-0 to finish the season at 6-3.
All right, and from last night, we have Parkside. They're the Kings of the North. They take down yet another Bayside North team 33-0 over Kent County.
All right, so here's where we ran into a bunch of problems on the schedule in the Bayside. As you can see, there are a lot of slash marks in our graphic. That is by choice. Easton and Cambridge was canceled due to weather. I'm told they wanted to play the game tomorrow, but they could not find officials. Very fitting with the story that we just saw in Delaware. That game is officially a no contest, and that game will have some implications for the playoffs, as is Kent Island and Queen Anne's. One team allegedly wanted to play earlier in the week. I'm told another team declined, so make what you will of that. So they both moved to the playoffs as well. That also could have some playoff implications, those 2 teams not playing. North Carolina and Colonel will play tomorrow at 5 p.m., as will Waihi and Bennett. I think they play at noon. They were already scheduled for Saturday for their game to be played. So that is what is going on in the Bayside Conference. Things are very interesting. As I said, Brandon, there will be some very, very interesting implications as far as what happens in the Bayside with these no contest games. The points will be decided here on Sunday, and we will have to see how these matchups end up coming out. Because some teams already thought that they were going to be matched up with some other teams. That's not going to be the case because they lost this game. And, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic and everything that happened this season with those games.
Well, you know what? There's one good way to look at the Bayside games that don't get played, and a lot of teams get a bye week heading into the playoffs. That's one good.
That's true.
That's one positive to take away from it. But over in Delaware, where we did have games tonight, Laurel, they continue to roll this season. Kylese Wilson, so impressive on the ground. They've demolished all of their 1A opponents, 280-26
You've been doing
this
research.
season.
You've been doing research.
That's crazy, Trey. They've played, I believe, 5 games against 1A opponents, 280-26. This is a 2A program playing against 1A teams, and at this point, they have to be the favorites in 1A, right?
Yeah, I would say so. That's a very good way to put it. They are a 2A team. There's no reason why they shouldn't have been in 2A, but they didn't.
A lot of politics went into play when it came to who's a 1A team and who's a 2A team. We won't get into those, but hey, they've got a great ground attack. Their quarterback, Caden Shockley, can make throws when he needs to, and that defensive line, they create a lot of havoc when you
Yeah,
watch
look,
them.
I'm not going to blame Laurel at all. You only play who's on your schedule. There were some people higher up that made this decision to put them in 1A. All it's doing for Laurel right now is giving them a potential chance to win their first state championship in a really long time. So we'll have to see where it goes. But that is going to do it for the A block. We're taking a quick commercial break. But when we return, how about this? We got a special segment up for you. You're not going to want to miss it when DSI returns.
Hi, I'm Joey Jones from Laurel High School Football, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.